If you hear, get your hand out my pocket in my lecture. No El Haj Malik repeat, I betcha. Sergeant of the Moorish Unified Front toward Islam. Twist your arm like a blunt, won't spark it. But like Tiger Claw, debark it. Before anyone saw, not Cain, but I'm raw. Long live Iron Sheet, slaying the weak. Rhyming about rims, spinning on their Jeep. Making a mockery of the art and hard work. Put in by the veterans, now they gotta work. Guru in a coma, rap heart attack. I'm sure a premier beat would bring the God back. Can't give it too much time in my rhyme, but I know mostly in rhyme they doing the crime. Build a ball court, a whack remedy. Living right around me is my worst enemy. I see that they look just like me. Award for hip hop when you're not an MC. Mastering the ceremony, very lonely. Rapping genuine, riding the beat ponies. Scrap the DJ and dancer like a phony. If you see me in some skinny jeans, you know they clone me. If you hear me rapping about crap, I'm Coke B. So do me like Big L or J and smoke me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. If you hear I killed Assistant Grand Sheik, just know they're trying to get me down the Drew Ali road. Release me into the hands of Moors dirty, knowing that they conspire and wanna hurt me. Offering me dishes with glass splinters, so they'll give me a ride, leave my jacket in the winter. Try to get me through she-cast with no weakness. Don't get it twisted cause you see us speechless. I put more trust in Jupiter KTS than fake Moors with more records than JBS. Telling me they save, but just wanna be paid. Don't wanna pay dues, but be men that's made. Pushing like to travel, but don't defend. And only when backs against the wall, they wanna befriend. That's why I watch no face and beg no friend. Cause only Adam Chambers will be there in the end. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. So fly, no lie, so hot, I know this. Sniff your whack lines, you're so hopeless. Clones and drones, skull and boning. Getting homes for a loan and rims chroming. Crap shooting, watermelon eating, mad cow, bird flu, chicken stealing, human raccoon running through daisies, selling out your race cause you're so lazy. Think you on a level when he owns your masters, and master is holding his guard in laughter. Thinking you're balling, not me you're fooling. Armchair revolutionaries cooling, hot like Mims, lynched from trees called Tims. Posing with your fat ass on covers of Maxim. Big fly eye shades under big brims. In some tight jeans you shouldn't wear, you're too slim. Can't stand your flow, we got me snoozing, drooling, falling asleep from your cooling. If I go to your show, it's me that's booing. Even if I may lay with my blood pooling. Go back to the essence with those old schooling. In the next realm I'm just keeping it moving. Don't need a whip, on comments I'm cruising. I'm the spirits, you need a bottle, stay boozing. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. I see some of my worst enemies live right around me and look just like me. Yeah. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I'm going at dirty rappers lynching dirty Moors too. Hiding literature that Drew wrote to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. With paperwork and filings, it's fiat they robbing. They don't care about his words, throw it out like garbage. Or throw it at you when you're active, not passive. When they want to talk about like off a trampoline mattress, treat them like a vamp or a teen actress. Get stabbed with a brand like a mean savage. This Inquisition's divine, all others average. Millennium Renaissance, heroes in our classes. Shut up with the czar controlling fascists. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. but Masons, they obviously know. Down the handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning in Bohemian Grove. I know what Dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. Dirty Moors killed Drew. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers, Moorish literature and divine bylaw changes. Might as well say Drew Ali was born in a manger. Prophet puts poison aside and his food smelled danger. Got me treating every Moor like a stranger. Grand Chief Punkin stumbling drunk in their fairs. What was proclaimed for every meeting was not read. Some Moors are so active, prophet can't be dead. Thanks Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself. Honest to the prophet, noble Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. Everybody wants to be just like Drew Ali, but nobody wants to care about Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did.
This, more land, not the matrix. Tricks, Lord's plan versus the ape wits. Writs of discovery affidavit, this is not mobland, Morsland. Uno rest that we suffer, uno nest, uno flesh that we come through. Keep six from who? Dirty Moors in the mix, selling packages for the nation. The part and partial. Ask them where you going, Satan. To and fro, causing carnage. When I blackmail you to do something positive. In the black market, CEOs are foreigners. On Black Friday, see them pile up, no one going in. Move like a spit like a cobra while they super lift like a vulture. With losers, there's no winners. I stand on the cue, not a 2D thirst. Overseeing the fuse could easily diffuse, but refuse to put you in the unum sanctum. Bulla, I'm not talking sweet, tell you the whole shit. Go to sleep. Unum sanctum fight. Unum sanctum breakfast fight. Love truth, the hype get. Peace when it's my vibe. Unum sanctum color of flies. Unum sanctum fight. Unum sanctum pick me fight. Unum sanctum fight. Pick me fight. Unum sanctum fight. Unum sanctum breakfast fight. Love truth, but how you get peace when it's my part? Unum sanctum color of flies. Pick me fight. Like you pick me fight. What? Been a long time, you ain't wised up. Are you innocent when you living with the sin? Slap life in the dead meat, trap you niggas in. Black be the sunshine, new era that we in. It's back from time immemorial. Be us, we'll turn the first page to read the cover. So judge not, silly Billy, always doing what Simon says up on Morocco, not Barack. Old B, Bush, or Trump B, gonna make the country great again. Cool, 1861. Took back on the 6th convention by the noble truth saying, it's been a long time since the low and high and meet again. The yin with the yang, the rule, the cool man boom. Where humanity is bloomed, gradually you bloom. Come out to daddy, join the rank, you would gladly, connotatively with family. No color applies. Bye.
It's love. Islam. Rise and give honors to Allah. Give honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Give honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all Moors worldwide. Peace to Brother Bomar. May 29th, 2019.
This is about time travel. That's why time travel is all over everywhere. Everybody's a time traveler. Duh. There's no such thing as time. We invented it and then we created the entire program around it to loop the DNA and loop the memories. Now you got us living in not paradise. Paradise lost. You got us living in this crazy ass cricket world, spinning wildly on a global axis concept theory, new world order bullshit. So it has to change. So I have the power and you have the power to change it. And I'm going to keep going. I'm never going to give up. I will do this infinity. I live infinity. So at one point, I will see a reality that's completely imbalanced. And I feel like that is now. So from there, let's just correct some things. I am not a color. I am not black. What the fuck? Do you go to another race and actually say, hey, yellow man, red man? You don't say that shit. Why? Because all those colors are related to a caste system of slaves. People have accepted a mentality of tribes, not tribe. They accepted the idea that we're all separate and we're not. We're all together. So there's no differentiation in something that is completely together. So if you get called a color, especially when that color is high Germanic, it means dirty dark. It means dirty, dark, evil, creature, Mordor. You see what I mean? It has nothing to do with a particular person's color, creed, and who they really are truly as a person and as a being.
But, you know, you're going to have people calling themselves new black knowledge and all that stuff. Calling themselves high Germanic jurisdiction, but they got something to say about Moors, who give honors to Noble Drew Ali. Honors to him. They're going to be new black knowledge or whatever, trying to tell you about Noble Drew Ali's name is really Thomas, like it matters, because he's not European. Timothy is a European. Thomas is a European. Clearly, Noble Drew Ali is not European. Well, Drew is for Druid. But you're a dumbass and you don't study. You keep thinking that this is about joining some club. This is about your birthright. Don't get mad at Noble Drew Ali because he was a high scientist and you're a conscious nigger and that's it. Don't be mad at Noble Drew Ali for that. He wasn't European. Drew Ali was a master in the arts. And his duty specifically was to help raise our people. What about all the stuff that he was doing that has nothing to do with us, but has to do with all these other nations that are in this land right now, today, with nationalities doing something with the nationality. And the only ones who are denying the fact in America that Noble Drew Ali presented to these people that they're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. You're Moors. They don't want to hear it. They want to play around that there's some new black knowledge.
You see what I mean? So get it straight. Black means in High Germanic, as a High Germanic word, pale. I'm not pale. This is a reference to the Shroars. That's why they say, may the Shroars be with you. Y'all was laughing about it, thinking it's a joke and a game. Look it up. Shroars is a word that means dirty and dark. Negger, right? Schwarzenegger, okay? That's why Buddy was all out front for years and years and years. They still got Schwarzenegger running around. It's a code. Next code, Zion. They go keep next year when Buddy come out and play the basketball. Zion, Zion, Zion. Y'all just gonna get that across the mainframe. Everybody gonna send power into that. You know, or we're gonna take that power and turn it into doing what we need to do with quantum solutions. So how much more do you really want me to say? I am a doer. Get with me. Let's fund this app. Let's get our own mainframes and services online. Let's get our people employed in highly educated jobs so where they're understanding exactly where things are turning. Look at China. I mean, I heard the brother say the other day in an old recording, man, y'all watching the quote unquote white man so long, y'all missing what's going on over there with the Chinese. Meaning for all people, you see this color when you say white, because everybody, even the Polish, even the people who are supposed to be the white by the skin, the Slavs, they've been oppressed. That is the name where the slaves come from. That's what the feudal lords was doing to everybody else and then brought that poison to everybody else. So listen to what it really is. This is really about us getting together so that way when we and our children are working with trying to just get in the ocean or have a swim and see things like mommy has seen and daddy has seen, that it'll be there even better than you have seen it. I'm experiencing and living that life now. There is nothing absolutely wrong with my life at all. It's perfect. But that's because I've made that happen inside. It's inner stand. So a lot of cats ran out early. You know, look at me, just like the social media trend. And then they're running out of gas because all they've been doing is just taking what all the other teachers have been saying, the old, especially the ancient teachers, the older teachers, taking what they've been saying and rehashing it and trying to bring it forth in their own way. But you can tell what's unique because then they bring something that ain't nobody ever seen before, ever conceived. That's original.
That's what Noble Drew Ali did in the 1920s. When everybody was playing like they're a slave and playing like they're a Negro and playing like they gotta drink from this fountain and all that, and they gotta go march and all of that. He said, no, you're not beggars. You're the original. You're the man. Even you, woman, you're the man too. Once you know that you're not yellow, you're not brown, you're not purple, you have a nationality. You have a nationality. And if you're in the jurisdiction of the Americas, there's many nationalities here. Some of them are Aboriginal and Indigenous, some of them are foreigners. In the 1920s, foreigners were coming here and joining the Moorish Science Temple. Foreigners. Because they recognized something about what this individual was doing. Mattered not what his quote-unquote name was.
We morph originals. We bring forth originals. We can take human souls that have been put into clone programs or tetrahedron hive-based HIV programs and actually break them out of those cubes, the womb magic, and actually bring them into true math through math by learning the frequencies and the harmonics and the tones and the vibration that the body needs in order to stay into the actual original design of the creators. So that's what you're talking about back here. And then look, people look at me. You should see, you know what it's like to live in this skin? I got folks on protecting their children on quantum levels, and they're still looking at me because of my skin. And then thinking, wonder if they're going to be able to help or do something. They're judging in their own minds, so thus they have been judged to just not do anything today. And every day you don't do something, you die. for that day. That's it. I don't care if you're looking at the whole 72 year, the bigger clock, the big hand on the clock, the small hand on the, if you're looking for the small hand on the clock, the big hand on the clock is turning every single night. You're dying and you're forgetting where you are. You're forgetting what's going on because you don't have the passion and the strong will to live, because that has tied into something that you're actually doing, something that you're protect, something you're protecting, professional technology, something that causes you to make you want to be aware through existence. And I already said, for all those cats that feel like they're going to escape and get away, remember the Tibetans and the Buddhists and all them, they had already done all that. They went to the extreme, going into the caves, going to the darkness. But what comes forth from the darkness? Something screaming back into the light, ready to get in action again. What I'm saying is that many of them cats went in them caves. They didn't have anything. They nullified themselves. They nullified everything. They killed the passions. They reached nirvana. And then what? What about your mama? Then what? What about your brother? So they come screaming back into the light, but on cave broke status, trying to figure out how they're going to master their mainframe that's constantly metamorphosizing itself because of why? External controllers already being aware outside of time exactly how to move the mainframe. Taking knowledge from the ancient people, continuously harvesting the minds in order to bring forth more seeds as seeds consume seeds. And guess what? Nothing is actually being done out of the laws of the design. Seeds eat seeds. It is a sacred honoring to allow the consumption of something to be transformed into something greater. But if the consumption of something is transformed into something less, then you will experience less. That's where we are. And that's where we rise from. I'm glad I got a chance to see the bottom. It's like a spring to the top. And I will always return here. Somebody say, oh, that's a Messiah program. You're in a program. You're around a program. You think in a program. You speak in a program. You better learn the program. And you better actually figure out how to manifest the program for yourself. What do you think your ancestors was doing? They had time to sit back and create 50,000 different types of beetles. They had time to sit back and experience the limitless. And they're there now. Let's get there, homeless.
So stop the BS. Noble Drew Ali was trying to get us there. The point of Noble Drew Ali was to liberate the Negro black colored. What the hell's wrong with that? What are you hating? There's people done worse stuff than Noble Drew Ali. Now, what we want to do this for is to show that he's not no European and Drew is not no European. That's for Druid. Because he was a seer. It's not some joke that his name was Prophet and people wrote that in newspapers and all that stuff. It wasn't for a joke that the Chicago Defender covered Moorish Science Temple of America activities. Chicago Defender. This is not even Moorish. That's the black guy's paper. And an Asiatic, a brother who owned the newspaper, covered Moorish Science Temple and Noble Drew Ali. Go check the record. Because I see people are talking about they went and emailed some whoever to get some information about Noble Drew Ali and is his name Thomas and all this BS. When Chicago Defender newspaper, that was around the same time as these people's newspaper that they're talking about, they're not talking about Noble Drew Ali's names Thomas or Timothy and talking BS. They're covering the activity of the Moorish Divine and National Movement in the 1920s. They still got those artifacts right there now for you to go check. These people are going to go to some Inquisition newspaper people to tell them about the Moors. How come they didn't go to Chicago Defender and ask? How come you didn't go ask Chicago Defender? They're a newspaper. that was around in the 1920s? How come these people knew Black Knowledge and whoever, Chief X, Ra, whoever else? How come they didn't go to the Chicago Defender archives and pull where it says Thomas Drew Ali, Thomas Drew, Thomas whatever in their archives? And then if he's such a fraud, why did they cover him right up until his death if he's such a fraud? If Noble Drew Ali is such a fraud, why is the Chicago Defender, a reputable Chicago newspaper founded by Asiatics, why are they still covering Noble Drew Ali if he's a fraud and his name is not Timothy, it's Thomas, and he's committing a fraud because that's not his name? The name that you got's not your name either, dumbass. What you talking about? We're not Europeans. X is Greek. They ain't a Chief X. You're not Greek. Why is your name X? Why are you representing yourself as a Greek jurisdiction? Don't tell me nothing about Asar is sitting down, he crossed his arms, and that's the X and all that BS. FOH. No different than these frauds calling themselves New Pale Knowledge, and they're about liberating you when they're calling themselves New Pale, and Pale is the people who they're supposed to be against. They're calling themselves Pale. For generations, they're doing this. And people just, yeah, those guys. Those are the teachers, yeah. They found out the fraud about Noble Drew Ali. And I have all these people who listening to them give up their birthright, which is going to keep them in sin. Because like the brother was saying, go check the Chinese. They got a nationality and they're effing Africans up just because they want to be African. Or you don't want to be, oh, Igbo chiefs got fezzes, but you're Nigerian. Okay, you do your thing. Oh, Sudanese chiefs got fezzes, but you're from the Sudan and you're Sudanese. All right, do your thing. There's Moors right now in South Africa. They got Moroccan flags. Now I have no issues with these people down there. But here comes Mr. Chin and the quote-unquote South Africans. Forget African here doing something to them. Chinese now are doing something to them. Just like brother said, you're watching Europeans so long like a dumbass. Ain't nothing called a white man. You're looking over there because the white man's going to do something or whatever like that. And then people are behind you running your estate because you want to play scholar. You found out something that nobody ever found out. We found out Noble Drew Ali's name's not Timothy, it's Thomas. Really? That's the big news. And then on top of that, you went to some European newspaper and that's who put you on. And the dumbass conscious people, the dumbass people who think that they know something and they listen to these people on whatever other platforms they go on that have 50,000 views and 80 million subscribers. All these people talking the same BS. But nobody's going to address the fact that they went to some Europeans when these are supposed to be the, yeah, nothing with the European and the black stuff and all that. But you go in the European newspaper to tell you about Noble Drew Ali, you can go to Chicago Defender. Let them tell you some stuff about Noble Drew Ali. Let them go in their archives and let you know something. I'm telling you, Chief X, Pale, Knowledge, Rob Bourne, all you frauds, know that we know that your Morisco is working with the Inquisition. We know this. So you keep playing your games, but no, we know you're Inquisitionists if you're against the Moors, period. If you're against the Moors, you're down with unum sanctum, you're down with the popes and all that. That's what you're down with. If you're saying anything negative against the Moors, you say something negative against the Moors, you say something negative about Noble Drew Ali, you are definitely, most definitely, papal edicts. You know about nothing about liberation of our people. Nothing. Talking crazy about your own prophet. You're calling yourself black. The audacity.
Us and the Newark Public Library, who would contain the records. Let's see their response before we get to the actual documents that you ain't never seen before. So the library writes, I found the 2 articles you mentioned over the phone. Obviously, we knew about the articles, as well as another that appeared on July 19th when Drew was acquitted. Acquitted of what? We shall see. The Newark Evening News referred to him as Thomas, not Timothy.
The Newark Evening News. The New York Evening News was founded by a European. Now, how is it that you're looking for someone's identity and you're going to some news people? Shouldn't you be getting some ID or something like that? Or shouldn't you be getting something other than some evening news, whoever, to say who somebody is?
There goes our first one. Was his name Thomas? Was his name Timothy? Was his name Drew? What was it? Let's see what the records say. So we'll go down further. As you can see, we went and we paid for it. And what did we get? Let's take a look. I'm going to make this big and we're going to read through the article. This, so all of those date hounds and want to know and about your leader can be found in the June 27, 1916 issue of the Newark Evening News about one Timothy Thomas Drew. Can this be seen? Can this be seen?
Yeah, it can be seen. And
we're going to read it together. We're going to read this together. The headline says, could Ben Bars still sat in jail? Egyptian adept student is finally released by Judge Pilgrim, but on bail of $1,700. Buckle up, folks. You wanted the MBK way, you're going to get it the MBK way. Primaries, not our words, but I'm going to take my time with this one. Because in this article are the words.
No. Judge Pilgrim, come on now. Come on now, you sellout niggers. Come on now. Come on, Chief X. You're being a real sellout nigger right now. All the nation of gods and earths should be very disappointed in Ra, whoever. And New Black, whoever you are, I don't know who you were. You just came up here yesterday because I never heard of you ever. But Judge Pilgrim, though? Judge Pilgrim. You're not going to say nothing about Judge Pilgrim. You're going to go into all this stuff about Thomas Drew and all of this. But you're not going to talk about Judge Pilgrim, the fraudulent judge who's letting you know he's a pilgrim that's in your land harassing your brother. But you're not going to say anything to Judge Pilgrim and the fraud that they're running by even, because if you're saying that he's from Newark, that means he's Aboriginal and Indigenous. Whether his name Thomas, Timothy, doesn't matter. He's Aboriginal and Indigenous. So you're saying that a pilgrim judge should be able to harass an Aboriginal and Indigenous in their own land? You definitely work for the Inquisition if you think that. You are most definitely down with the Inquisition. If you're gonna go with his name's not Timothy, it's Thomas, when Moors don't even use the European name to identify the prophet. You would never find a Moor that would call him Timothy Drew Ali or Thomas Drew Ali or whatever name somebody else pulls up from some article. His name is Jeffrey Drew. He is miracles. And that's Noble Drew Ali. Ain't nobody that knows that they're Moors is going to use a European name to identify the prophet that they know told them he's Moorish American. That if he's Moorish American, then he's not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian, or European.
Words of Mr. Drew, and we're going to find out about him. So, Dr. quote unquote, quotes added by me, Thomas Drew's miracles are many. Let's go. Dr. Thomas Drew, advertising as an Egyptian adept student who has been performing miracles in his mysterious chamber in an attic room at 22 School Street for several weeks, sat most of this morning in a cell in the 4th precinct. This is before he was noble.
No. Let's throw something out here. Let's just throw something out. What if Thomas Drew is an imposter of Timothy Drew? What if Thomas Drew saw all the things that Timothy Drew was doing and said, you know what? That just might work. What if there's two people? Because I never heard of School Street ever in anything Moorish Science Temple of America. And we've been known Moors who had documentation from back then. That address doesn't ring a bell. I don't know whose newspaper this is, but they're definitely playing games. Because again, if you're talking about during the time of Old Canaanite Temple, that is water under the bridge relative to the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Because this is all about Moorish Divine and National Movement. The only thing that Old Canaanite Temple represents is that's when this was founded in Newark, New Jersey by Noble Drew Ali. That's what it was. Just a founding name. When you go through all the literature, you don't see him talking about Old Canaanite Temple, anything. He's talking about Moorish Divine National Movement, Moorish Science Temple, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. You're not hearing him talking about Old Canaanite Temple in any literature.
Lockup and wondered how he could effect an escape. Of course, he has twisted and broken such bars with one hand, has shattered great iron locks, and has brushed away handcuffs with only a smile and a muscle twitch. But they were his own bars, locks, and handcuffs. This guy, Dr. Thomas Drew, the Egyptian adept, was a fake magician.
Yo, Danny, I put the Professor Drew picture there just so people that never seen it before.
So we'll get to that. We're gonna read the article because people have seen that picture before. People ain't never seen this. Never. Never. Shall I continue? Y'all want me to continue? Put some ones in there just because I like seeing it. Welcome, Bullets Gotti, and everybody else. It's about to get real. Y'all done tuned into the right one. Y'all don't ask for the right ones. Not our words, their words. All right, let me continue about Dr. Thomas Drew, the Egyptian adder. I was just kidding with the ones, y'all. I just wanted to do that one time. That could stop. It was a joke. All right. The professor was also noticeably worried over a bail of $1,700, which had been fixed by Judge Pilgrim to injure his appearance before the grand jury.
Like you just breeze over Judge Pilgrim like it ain't nothing. How you just breezing over Judge Pilgrim to talk about this Thomas Drew, whoever this is? These people are working with the Inquisition. The judge's name is Pilgrim, and these black guys gave the Pilgrim a pass to go after their brother. You tell me that's not Inquisition? You're gonna get mad at the black cop who goes and does whatever. You're not gonna be mad at these guys. When the black cop does the job, the European cop just killed some little brother or whatever, you're gonna be talking BS to the black cop. But you're not gonna say anything to these people who give the Judge Pilgrim a pass to go after their brother and put down a whole 3 hours trying to defame his name. Their own brother. Yo, Noble Jawali is their brother. He's another Asiatic just like them. And they're chasing him down to try to discredit him. But they're gonna let Judge Pilgrim get a pass? Judge Pilgrim gets a pass. For real, black guys. All the conscious guys, all the guys out there who rep some Hebrew or who rep some whatever, whoever rep all these guys. You rep these guys. The judge's name is Pilgrim. All you guys know who the Pilgrims are and what they did here. You're really gonna ride with them on this and not say anything about the fact that a Pilgrim is a judge in their land and they don't got no problem with that? These people are foul out here. And these are the ones who's supposed to know themselves, and these are the ones who are supposed to be, you know, doing yoga, and they got jewels on, and they're conscious and all that stuff, and this is what they're doing. Throwing their own brother under the bus and giving a Pilgrim a pass. If you're telling me that that's not a sellout, then F you too. F you too. Because you're just as much a sellout as these people. If you're gonna play. Why the brothers have to be going at each other? These aren't my brothers. Look what they did to Noble Drew Ali, just like the dirty Moors that threw Noble Drew Ali on the bus. It's just black guys doing it now. We've been dealing with dirty Moors. You think some dirty black guys are gonna try to play their little stuff? Not gonna diss no prophet. Go try that stuff with Muhammad. You never do it because you're a bitch nigger. Go try that stuff with Buddha. You'll never do it because you're a bitch ass nigger. Never do it. Go try that stuff with Krishna and Shiva. You'll never do it. But your own brother, Noble Drew Ali, you're gonna try to throw him under the bus for some views on some goddamn YouTube. When he brought you more salvation than any of these fucks you guys listen to. And you're dissing Noble Drew Ali? Really? You're dissing Noble Drew Ali right now. Like you're really dissing Noble Drew Ali right now. Who came to save your dumbass? Still calling yourself pale. 2019, still calling yourself X. Calling yourself what? You calling yourself raw born? See what the etymology of born is. Just to see what you sellouts are up to. You're raw born, huh? So you're talking about Timothy Drew, you old English boy, old English butt boy. You're a raw born guy. Oh, and all you born guys who are some nation of gods, let's see what God is, since you're gods and earths. Let's see what the etymology of gods is. Since you guys like to look up stuff. Old English. All you pro-Germanicers, you pro-Germanic, old Saxon, old Frisian, Dutch, old High German boys that call yourself for your people. You're sellouts. All you are sellouts. Born. Talking BS about Timothy or Thomas or whatever. Your name's Born, which is Old English. And we already told you, Noble Drew Ali declared his nationality. He's not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. So his name is not Timothy or Thomas. You have nothing to say to the European. Zero. So the brother tried to do some good. Here they come. The dirty sellouts. The Morisco partners of the Inquisition. The SPLC fudge packers. Taking it. No Vaseline. To get as much views as they could get to keep the people dumb. Born trying to tell me something. Chief, old French, you French guys, talking about the liberation of some people. When you're calling yourself a French thing, the hell out of here. You're French, but you're talking BS about Noble Drew Ali. But you're French though. And then you have another one that's pro-German, whatever. Really? Straight up traitors. Traitors. In your face. Remember, it's not just these ones. All of them that say that they're black, Negro, African, and all that stuff, all of them are Inquisition. If they have nothing positive to say about the Moors, they're Inquisition. Because the only people against the Moors is the Inquisition. That's it. And nobody else had no issues with Moors other than the Inquisition. That's it. That's it. Everybody else was down with what the Moors were down with. No questions asked. Wait, let's just see what new is too, since we're here. Oh, Old English. There they go. Old English, pale knowledge. Fucking sure right it is. Sure right it is.
When he is wanted to answer two charges. One is for pretending powers of clairvoyance, and the other accuses him of what? Selling medicine without a license. Do these tactics sound familiar to people in 20?
Do these tactics sound familiar to people? Who's the person that forces you to have a license? Who is it? Who's the person that stops you and says, let me see your license? Who's the person that if you're doing something, they're coming over there, let me see your license? Inquisitionists, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Now, if he's practicing medicine without a license, why would they call him doctor in the article? Why would they still put doctor? Why wouldn't they say fraudulent doctor? Why wouldn't they say doctor imposter? You can't call somebody doctor in the public record, the newspaper, and then go all through the article and talk about he's on some BS. You just called him doctor, which qualifies him that he's not on some BS.
You're conscious them. So he is in court and in jail for, let's keep track now, pretending powers of clairvoyance. So he was a magician who was going around with the power of clairvoyance. Let's read further about Dr. Drew. And the other accuses him of selling medicine without a license. That is called.
And remember, you just put it on the record. It doesn't matter whether the name's Thomas or Timothy, because he just said Dr. Drew. How come you didn't throw the Thomas in there? If that's his name and you guys are trying to expose that that's his name, why would you still say Drew Ali? Just like the Inquisition that would say doctor, but put out article and talk BS. Because they really have no claim. You ever get played in? Okay, you know what? Let them talk, like Brother Yusuf says.
Patent medicines, and those were in the medicine show, which we talked about in our Black Magic, Black Power. Noble Drew Ali, the ad that you see where he is escaping from ropes like Jesus, was also slinging medicines later, so he kept it up. It was a medicine show. And magicians and medicine shows go hand in hand. I repeat, all you need to do is go back and watch The Wizard of Oz and look at the guy who came through town. He had on a turban and he was selling miracle elixirs.
Oh, interesting. So if that's the case, because you used, a movie as a reference, you're going to use a movie for a reference. Let me just ask a question. So this guy that we're going to show right now, wearing a turban, are you trying to say that he's a sideshow magician because he wears a turban? Because you're kind of generalizing right now. And Moors don't really deal with generalizing. Like, you need to be specific in what you're talking about. And you're being very general right now. Extremely general. General to the point of question where you're trying to go. You really have to question where you're going with this, because it doesn't really make too much sense where you're going with this. Doesn't really make too much sense. So you tell me. Because remember, you use a movie as a reference. So we're going to use a movie as a reference just to see if, you know, we're on or if you guys are fucked. I don't know what you guys are smoking, but something's wrong with you people. Now remember, they're going to Earth, right? You see that Earth's there, so they're going to Earth, right? So see who's gonna greet them. Who the lords of the Earth are.
Aboard the Starfleet vessel Enterprise, please do us the honor of visiting our vessel.
I love my people, but hate how they act. Saying they love their history, but they're calling it black. Won't overstand that. The law won't back your claim as African. With a name like Jack, to them, you're either dumb or your brain's dumb. White trash are the niggas, so you're just a bum. Stateless and fronting with your faking nation. NAACP founded by Jews of Satan. He who has no J, Harlem Jews were Moors. And all the knowledge he uses against you is yours. From the dollar pyramid to the compass and squares. Popes using more heads, but you're saying it's theirs. Begging for reparations with crocodile tears. Calling itself black, become property of theirs. Clear the ignorance, get your mind better. Like Master Adam Moore's humbled Sarnetta. New member of humanity, they are clever. Got God stuck in earth using Gucci sweaters. Got goddess getting nails done and doing slave runs with 2 ears pierced. Won't calling your gay son. Dying for lack of knowledge, only that would save her. Not rapping blood clot dummies played on the stations. They need to wake up and stop acting pagans. They need to get their thinking adept and not layman. Don't think it's hate, it's tough love. Don't think it's peace with a white dove. Don't think it's truth, then show me the lie. I won't hold my breath waiting, cause I might die. Don't think it's hate, it's tough love. Don't think it's peace with a white dove. Don't think it's truth, then show me the lie. I won't hold my breath waiting, cause I might die. I love my people, but hate their ways. Always doing time as if crime pays. So, everybody's clear. But it just seems that certain people are just against the Moors. If Captain Picard is down with the Moors, if the whole Star Trek Enterprise is down with the Moors, do them the honor of coming on our ship and all that type of stuff. Do them the honor. Do the Europeans the honor, the foreigners. Remember, they come from somewhere else to where we're at. Who they meet up with? Who they talking to? They're talking to these grass skirting Negroes saying that they're Indians. Dealt with the Moors.
He also ended up being the wizard. Is Noble Drew Ali the wizard? Let's continue on to find out. That guy, y'all remember the scene? The guy came through, he had a turban, he had some cape on, and he had some crystal ball, right? Let's read on. Information gathered by Detective Schrader and Bauman of headquarters shows that the professor had...
Let's just see Schroeder. Nothing even coming up for goddamn Schroeder. Who the hell is a Schroeder? Nothing even coming up. There's not even no origin for that, but they're gonna go with that as a reference.
Had done
That's who
a
they're backing.
land office business in medicine and was waging a campaign to obliterate all illness from his neighborhood. Sounds quote unquote noble, right? He had also given some very remarkable advice regarding prospective marriages, investments, and whatnot. All right. Listen closely. Let's get a visual picture of how Dr. Thomas Drew, the Egyptian adept, medicine man, magician, was looking before he was noble. Attired in a loosely fitting, multicolored gown and with a brilliant purple hood covering his head. Not attired in fez or turban or anything like that. Before he was noble, his shtick was, once again, attired in a loosely fitting, multicolored gown and with a brilliant purple hood covering his head. Y'all remember?
Right? The mystic art of reading a crystal ball. They're trying to make it sound like this is some kind of fraud or something. Like you can't read crystal balls. These are your scholars in your community. Giving up your own culture, because reading crystal balls is your stuff. Crystal Skulls movie, these people make billions or whatever. That's your culture that they're playing around with. And then they're convincing you to throw away your own stuff. When crystal ball is real. And of course, Gina Howell had to write the stuff. Of course, Gina Howell had to write it. Of course. When most people hear the word fortune telling, they automatically visualize a bedazzled gypsy crone rubbing over a crystal ball. Before the crystal ball, ancient wise people used bowls of water, glass, and shiny metal to divine mystic symbols. It is called the art of scrying. Don't let them play around and have you throw away your stuff. Crystal balls just do not work like that. They are not mystical cell phones that send texts and pictures from the future. In fact, there is no crystal ball on earth that can tell your future. It is even a misnomer to call a psychic a fortune teller. Then why are crystal balls such an important tool in the psychic toolbox? The crystal ball acts as a point of concentration for psychics. When they gaze into the depths of the crystal ball, it opens their spiritual eyes to see things projected from the subconscious. The crystal ball does not project images. How to cleanse a crystal ball, caring for your crystal ball, how to charge your crystal ball, how to use your crystal ball, how to interpret the things I see or feel in the crystal ball, which is really a projection from my mind into the ball. Oh, but they're trying to say that whoever this guy is, Thomas Drew, Timothy Drew, whatever his name is, the Egyptian adept guy, he's on some BS because he has a crystal ball. Because some Schroeder detective who we can't even find what the origin of Schroeder is, and some other European said so. and they're riding with them, opposed to go to Chicago Defender and talk to the brother who knew Noble Drew Ali personally. The individual who founded, just go get the book, Noble Drew Ali Plenipotentiaries, khalifamedia.com. The brother founds the paper and he's covering all the activity of the Moorish movement. No Noble Drew Ali personally. Never called him Timothy Drew or none of that. Always called him by Noble Drew Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So now, so anytime you hear them talk about crystal balls and whatever like that in some type of, they're mocking it manner, know that they don't know their own culture. Because crystal balls are real. And the crystal ball is not what's doing it. It's really you that's doing it. The crystal ball is just a prop. But if somebody has a crystal ball or crystals, or they go in their pocket, they're pulling out amethyst and they're putting out whatever out their pocket, know that they know something. Because those are crystals too. Tiger eye is a crystal. Same thing like you make a ball out of that. That would be a crystal ball. You tell me that it doesn't have any power? You must know that if you have a shungite ball, you have power. You have access to some kind of power. Why else would you have a shungite ball? So we don't even know what type of crystal ball it was. It might not have been the see-through stuff looking like, it might have actually been a ball, an amethyst ball, tourmaline ball. It could have been any, how many crystals there are? It could have been any crystal. A man has a ball and a crystal. If you're a dumbass, yeah, you'll think that that's weird. If you're an Inquisitionist, oh yeah, you'll definitely think that that is heretic. You'll definitely call in the Inquisition and the papal bulls and the edicts for that. You got crystal balls and all that stuff. Well, he's definitely a mystic. Purple cloak and all that. You got a purple cloak? He has the purple cloak. I remember they're talking BS about Dr. John Dee, 1527 to 1609, was effectively the Queen's science advisor, an astronomer, a mathematician, a navigator, an alchemist, a spy, a celestial necromancer. And that was the Queen's science advisor? So if the Queen's science advisor in the 1500s was a necromancer, an alchemist, an astronomer, how come they're not talking any BS about the Queen? Oh yeah, because these are the Inquisitionist guys. These are the people who have either been sent from this time or from ancient times to be the same people that Noble Drew Ali told us were going to be against him today. The same people. The same people. The same ones. That Noble Drew Ali said back then, oh, you think they got something now? Wait till those ones come later that hate me more than the ones that hate me now. Here they are, exposing themselves.
Remember how the Undertaker used to come to the ring? Picture that. Y'all remember how the Wizard looked in a Wizard? Picture that. Y'all old enough to remember Dungeons and Dragons? Picture that. This is before he was noble. Shall I continue? Let's do that. Professor Drew, who is an East Indian? That's what it says. With Virginia as his birthplace. I thought he was born in North Carolina.
No, but how come you not bringing up this fact that he says he's Indian? Ujali was no damn East Indian. How's he East Indian, but he's born here? The hell are you talking about? He's East Indian, but he's born in Virginia. If he's East Indian, then he's probably from East India. Hold on a second. He's Chinese, but he was born in America. Okay, he's still Chinese. So if he's East Indian, why are they gonna have? Hold on a second. He's East Indian. Wait a minute here. Now it's said that Noble Drew Ali told the Moors have been up and down the Mississippi before the Europeans came here. So if Noble Drew Ali is saying that he's a Moor and he's teaching that the Moors were up and down the Mississippi, then he wasn't East Indian. And if they're saying that he's East Indian, that's some type of propaganda, avalanche of lies against the Moors. Because you need to qualify how the hell he's East Indian. Don't just blow past that just like you blow past Judge Pilgrim. You need to address how is he East Indian? Because he thought that we're Moors and we're from over here.
I thought he was born in North Carolina. Virginia will be important. Please remind me, Alan, so I can get to what was going on in Virginia. Got you. In Virginia, East Indian with Virginia as his birthplace. Virginia told of his wonderful second sight powers last night when he was visited by detectives. He advised Schrader to invest his $1 million as planned and said he would be repaid threefold. Let's go further. It cost Schrader $1 for the information, despite, we'll look at the business card later, the announcement on Drew's cards that he operated gratis, which means free or no cost. So a marked bill was given him. And later, Schrader and Mrs. Hughes, a police woman, acted as his wife, revisited the mysterious chamber and had the professor tell again of his marvelous powers that, cost $1.
Now, you like to bring up movies as a reference or whatever. Wasn't there some type of movie where the guy who had all the powers or whatever, went to jail, and then you can't put you in jail because you're just gonna break out and all that type of stuff, and then guy not break out because of the moral of the whole thing, and yeah, maybe I was wrong for doing whatever. So even though I could break out, I wanted to do my time or whatever like that. You know, why would they continue to use these two highwaymen as a reference point for this for their story here, and never once go check the brother Chicago defender who knew Noble Drew Ali personally? Only way they can be doing that is if they're Inquisition. The only way that they would be doing that is by being Inquisition. And you already know how it goes. You don't have to beat these people up all night. Just make sure you realize that these people are playing around with you. That you realize they're playing around with you. Ain't nothing new, nothing to be scared of. I'm scared that somebody knows how to read cards, which is really them just listening to the higher self. Nobody came to save you. Don't let these people have you scared of your own stuff because they found some article from some Europeans when you got brothers who had newspapers that were covering Moorish activity, right? So this is what they're doing. Noble Drew Ali is the witches burning, and these are them. And the witches they were burning were Asiatic women. Again, going against their own. Going against their own. The Torah, of course, is full of supernatural acts. Manna raining down from heaven, barren women giving birth, animals speaking, but these events are all attributed to God. Thus, the supernatural happenings of the Israelites, whose source of power is God, are extolled. Similarly, when God parts the Red Sea as the Israelites flee Egypt, it's considered a miracle. You think they're not playing you? Know that they're playing you. They want you to abandon your prophet. That if you go to African American religions, 1500s to 2000, Sylvester A. Johnson, Moorish Americans. The Moorish Science Temple of America, founded by Timothy Drew, also began to assert a black ethnic identity during the era of Garveyism. Drew would come to identify himself as Noble Drew Ali, the divinely inspired messenger, a prophet whose message to so-called Negroes achieved its salvific efficacy primarily through its revelation that blacks possessed a distinctive nationality. At the heart of this message was the proclamation that those so-called Negroes were in fact Moorish Americans, descendant from the ancient Moabites, among whom the biblical character Ruth was a celebrated ancestor. By adopting the term Moorish, Ali was able to exploit a rich etymological history that had been used by Europeans until the 19th century to denote Muslims who were not necessarily black and blacks who were not necessarily Muslim, often interchangeably. Ali taught that Moorish Americans possessed an ancient history that had practiced a distinct ethnic religion, Islam. As a prophet, he presented to these Moorish Americans their own divinely prepared scriptures, the Circle 7 Quran, which related some history of the Moabites and other Canaanite peoples and also described the activities of Jesus in Asiatic lands. He believed that if Black Americans embraced their true Moorish nationality, as he termed it, the US government under which they lived and all other nations would respect them and would regard them as dignified people with history who merited respect. Terms such as colored or Negro were slave names, not free national ones. The response to Ali's message of Moorish redemption was considerable. In Chicago, where Ali first incorporated the MSTA in 1925, Moorish Americans commanded public respectability until Ali's suspicious death in 1929. Their public celebrations of an ancient Moorish heritage drew large crowds that included local political leaders. Ali established a factory to produce oils, incense, soaps, and other Moorish products, the sales of which buoyed the religious financial base. From New York City to Kansas, Kansas to Belzoni, Mississippi, MSTA members established temples and vibrant community of converts with a bold message of ethnic renewal. They urged followers to project the semiotics of so-called Negro identity and instead to reclaim a heritage that stretched from ancient Palestine to Arabia and the Muslim empires of Eurasia and Africa. Followers received a change in name by adding the suffix Bay or El to denote their Moorish ancestry. They paid nominal membership dues and in exchange received membership cards certifying that their identity was not Negro, but Moorish American. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Master Secrets of Hypnosis and Self-Hypnosis. Professor Kurt Tepperwein. Professor Kurt Tepperwein. The application of hypnosis was replaced by religious practices in the middle of the 6th century. Christian monks had replaced the priest doctors. New methods used were prayer, holy water, martyrs' relics, and the laying on of hands. Popes and kings referred to the New Testament to achieve miraculous cures. It is said, "You will lay on your hands in my name, and the sick will be made whole." In the 11th century, monks of the Hesychastic order, cloistered on Mount Athos, inaugurated the principle of self-hypnosis. They set in motion by gazing at their navels. Every adept of their system is called an omphallopsychic, or a contemplator of the navel. And that was their crystal ball, the navel. Under the Inquisition, this way of obtaining cures fell into oblivion. Anyone who practiced this art was declared guilty of dealing with Satan. He ran the risk of being burned alive. That's exactly how they do. At Carnton, monks cure the sick who contemplate shining crystal balls. The patients fall into a deep sleep. Then the monks give them healing suggestions. Most of the patients come away cured. I thought he couldn't do that. I thought that didn't work and all that stuff. But they want to listen to some European highwaymen that made up some story about somebody, Thomas Drew, to lead people astray so they could never find out about the prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was born Timothy Drew. And go check, everybody else talks about his name's Timothy Drew. Only these clowns over at JSTOR or wherever, they're posting these articles. They got Lord Abba's articles up there and all these other fakers up there calling themselves scholars because they got their what do they call it? Peer approved freaking articles or whatever. Get the hell out of here with your BS. Not no damn scholars. Peer approved nothing. All your peers are some dumbasses. What do you mean peer approved? No peer approved nothing. Peer approved. These guys. Questions. Doing a name change to Canadian courts. Operating without sin in Canada. What Canadian officials should be put on notice about my status correction is the Supreme Court of Canada commercial since Canada doesn't have a constitution. First question, doing a name change to Canadian courts. No such thing as Canadian courts. Canada is a corporation. Canadian is a status of wards of the crown. And the courts, all the courts in this jurisdiction, including Supreme Court, come from the Exchequer Court, which you don't have anything to do with those. So, ain't no name change through them. And they're foreigners. Name change comes from you changing your mind so that your conditions change, not changing your papers so that you could be something that's going to change something. No, it starts with your mind. All is mental. But to get further, you can go on Canaanland Moors and go to the Back to Basics class and watch those. And that'll square you up. That should take you about 6 months to go through those 30 or 40 classes or whatever, 2 hours each, so that you can be clear before you go out there and get cards and all this type of stuff, because you think that once you have this card and you show this to these Europeans, they're going to bow down to you. No, look at what your own brothers are doing to you. Look what your own brothers are doing with regard to Noble Drew Ali and this same message that he brought for us about changing, correcting our name. They're pulling out some article saying that he's a fraud. Everything that he did is a fraud. That he's some charlatan that was out here parading around in some cloak with crystal balls. Like this is some gypsies concert. Right? Operating without sin in Canada. Sin social insurance number. Now, Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, we talked about this last night. All old business, leave it as it is. And everything new, do it in your free national name. So unless you have everything covered that has nothing to do with a social insurance number or a driver's license or a passport or whatever, until you have everything covered dealing with all those, don't talk about I'm a Moor now. And you can't do anything because all the stuff that you have is old business that's supposed to stay back there because it's dead weight, because it has all these demons on it, because you've been doing it in a dead status. So you want to move forward with a clean slate. You don't want to move forward with all the stuff on you. You're going to use the board and then the stuff smeared on the board. And instead of cleaning the board off completely, you're right over the smear. and then you erase that and then smear more. And then instead of clean out it, then you write over the smear. If you are going, this is why Noble said study, because in the time that you're studying, you're not going to be talking about correcting any status and not using a sin and it's business as usual. All you do now is that you have a night school class called Moral Science. 3 hours a night, you're going to go study. If you have got other stuff to do and you got some excuse why you can't study or whatever. 3 nights you're going to study. 3 hours you're going to study every night. That's your night school class right now. It's business as usual. Because you're studying. What do you mean you found out that you're a Moors yesterday and then tomorrow you want to take off some taxes from something? What the hell are you talking about? How are you going to operate without sin number, when you don't even know Noble Jawley's birthday? Matter of fact, you haven't even went to a Noble Jawley celebration. But people want papers and cards because they think that, oh yeah, just papers and cards. And then once I have that, this is not slave times. Those days are over. This is, you better know who you are mentally. You better be vibrating on the frequency of knowing who you are. And you know, some people don't want to. That's cool. They could be dumb nigger. That's up to them. And nothing wrong with that. If you want to be dumb nigger, it's cool. You know what I mean? It's your path. You're walking your path. If your path is to be dumb nigger, then you be that. The best dumb nigger you could be. That's your path. But there's no operating without until you have something to replace what you were with the without. So whatever you get from a quote unquote license, when you say Moorish, there should be something over there parallel to that. That you're just going to start using that now, instead of the thing that you were using under the other name. If you look over on the Moor side and you don't see the thing that's going to trade that one for this one, then don't talk about whatever. And then if you do see it, you better make sure that the people who are telling you, yeah, this is the thing. When you become a Moor, get one of these, and then you're unstoppable in the Moorish realm, 1500. And you think that that's what this is about? You better watch yourself and do what Noble Jawley said, go study. Stop trying to do stuff premature because you saw, you read something. You feel that tingle inside. And say, ooh, this is the truth. I finally found the truth. Let's go take. No. You are a novice. Sit your ass down somewhere and go study. Stop trying to do stuff premature. And then you're going to get on the news doing some premature BS or go viral and have people looking at Moors like fuckboys because you're doing some dumb shit with lack of knowledge. And then want to be mad when Moors didn't help you out of whatever BS that you were doing. You were doing BS with lack of knowledge. So don't even go into operating without something and you don't have knowledge. Don't do it. Now, if you have knowledge, you wouldn't be asking any questions. So make sure you're studying. rvbaypublications.com, the Moorish Online University. It's been that for years. You don't send anybody anywhere else. If you go on there and you pull up that website and say, whoa, there's so much information here, I can't do this, and you walk away, then hey, that's your path. It's not time for this. If you go on that website and you say, holy smokes, this information's crazy, and then you're studying or whatever, and then you say, oh wow, that was real interesting. And you look up and the sun's coming up and you know that it was nighttime when you started studying, you know that you're in this. Keep studying. Right? What Canadian officials should be put on notice about my status correction? We say, you tell all of them, because everybody's a fraud. And you're not going to trust anybody to play a principal and tell an agent, and then an agent tell a principal that, oh yeah, sorry, superintendent, we were just down at the corner of whatever, and Tanika Wilson came to us and said, she's not anymore. She gave us some papers or whatever like that saying that she's a Moor, and we just wanted to get this to you too, superintendent. And if you could go let the chief know that, the Moors are waking up or whatever, and we're just going to let you know because, they said on here, notice the principal is notice the agent. So we're going to follow the law and, be upright law enforcement. And we just want to put you on notice to let you know that we saw these people. So could you let the superiors know that they've been seen? They ain't getting none of that. So whoever you think needs to know, let them know. And none of them are officials because none of them have an office. Those offices that they have are not offices like that. Even though they say elections and then those people get in and all that stuff, it's not really that. How is it not that? Because the Governor General is Canada's de facto head of state. If the head of state is de facto, then everything under the head of state is de facto. So they're not officials. That's just what it is. Nothing personal. They're going to carry on doing what they do. You just have to know that don't you dare think that they have some jurisdiction over you. Because the only thing they have jurisdiction over is wards of the crown. And again, this comes into studying. That if you're studying, more than likely, you wouldn't have time to be caught up with anything with these people. And again, if you are caught up with something with these people, I bet you the thing that you're caught up in, you didn't get that as a Moor. So handle your shit before you start saying that you're a Moor and then messing around with some stuff as the Negro that you're trying to deal with as the Moor, and then they're giving you hassles, and then you're getting frustrated because it's not supposed to be like this because I'm a Moor and they're supposed to recognize. No, that was 1913. We're 100 years behind that shit. So don't think that this is going to be some cakewalk. You already gave that up. Ask the Noble Drawley exposed dirty black pale guys. Ask them. Because that's the reason why you're suffering now. Those kind of people. The Frank Garys and all these people telling you this BS that you're African, you came over from somewhere. People calling you Indian when they know that you're Moors. People calling you Negro, colored, black, African, whatever. All these people are why. You got questions right now why people are waking up and they don't know what to do because of all these sellouts who could have just told you about Noble Drawley, told you about your nationality and birthrights. You go study, you find out how real it is that actually we are Moors and the whole world knows that we're Moors. And everybody who in the world looks like us knows that they're Moors too. But we don't want that. So it is what it is. And again, is the Supreme Court of Canada commercial since Canada doesn't have a constitution? Exactly. And if Canada doesn't have a constitution, then it's not a country. And if it's not a country, then how are you a citizen of that? And how are you getting played into dealing with them when they don't even have a constitution? It's a documented fact. W.F. Kuhl, K-U-H-L. Canada, the country without a constitution. MP, Member of Parliament. Of course, they got mad at him and stuff like that, kicked him out of Parliament and all that stuff, but we're not going to talk about any of that because, Canada's a country and they have a national anthem and a flag and, they're in the Olympics and all that stuff. So they got to be a country, The act is not a constitution. A good try, though. But Constitution Act of Canada, it's not a constitution. That's an act. So give thanks, ancient wisdom. I will that you learned something today. And you already know if you need any more, just get at me. You have the contact. Peace and love to all the Moors everywhere you're at, especially the Moors who know that they're Moors. Give thanks to you. Give thanks to all the mothers, because we know that without mother, we're done for. So supreme honors to all the mothers, because we need you, mothers. We need you to wake up. We need you to start thinking for yourself. We need you to spread the word, because all the mothers have a different relationship than the sons to the mothers. So when you see that mother that you could put her on something, or she's a seeker of knowledge and stuff like that, put her onto some info. Don't be shy. Don't be scared because you see people like this talking crazy about Noble Drew Ali. You think you're not gonna know how to respond to something because they never gave you the title of Grand Sheikess and all that. Don't even worry about that BS. Once you're studying, trust me, you'll be able to answer all these questions, and it's just gonna flow off the tongue like you wouldn't even think that that's yourself. Like, damn, that was me right there. You go, girl. And you'll be all excited because you put them onto something, and they're actually going to research and coming back to you like, "Oh, check that shit out of that shit is crazy." And now you have a study partner, and then you're a study partner, and then sisters, and then you get the sisters circle going on, right? And all the sisters are on the knowledge of who they are, or whatever like that. And they're not going to make sure that these Moors know what's up, and you get some stuff done. So honors to you. Once again, we rise and give honors to Allah. Rise and give honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, because we know without the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, we wouldn't know the truth about our nationality and our birthrights. We would still be like New Black Knowledge, Raw Born, and Chief X, dumb niggers without knowledge of self. Peace and love to all Moors. Oh yeah, we could close out with with a little one song. Why not? We'll close out with our one song. Peace and love, Moors.
Just want a little I smoke, yeah. Nigga, I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. See me on the streets, here they come, here they act. Stroll around the corner, hands in the hood with a gas. They won't book me for that. Won't bag me for that, huh? Undercovers come up to me, ask me for crack. Not protected to serve, that's provoking the act. They won't book me for that, they won't bag me for that. But the man in ties, they just look at me back. I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. Is it the rich that is mean, or the ways that you stack? No, the pigmentation of his skin, he's black. Like they won't book me for that, they won't bag me for that. Ain't even speeding, I'm doing my limit. Can't be taxed, it's illegal. System structured, so you can't be rich. Got this breathing mustard. My brain's blue from the smoke. Ponics, human product. Illumines force light, they call simulate. The devil use man to try to make life, cause God wouldn't tell him, condemn him, fell him. God gave us the seed to reproduce, to Mother Earth is full. So in the mean, I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. See me on the streets, here they come, here they at. Stroll around the corner, hands in the hood with the gats. They won't book me for that. Where the good people at? Motherfuckers come up to me, ask me for crack. Protect them to serve, that's provoking the act. They won't book me for that, they won't back me for that. But a man in ties, they just look at me back, cause they think I'm black. Nah, man. Bruh. Something like that.
Marijuana, yo, it caught me. I don't know why they always on me. Only thing I think on me. If you stop us, we put it out calmly. Officer, where's your authority? Doing be the national on her land or his scenes. Oh, I love listen to me. Bonnet idle, no grabber in my weed. We check out the stems and seeds. Rolling while I'm rolling, that's a regular tendency. Enough man beat the NC. For me, some bubble roots or some ganja tea. I take 2 shots for my enemies. Envious bad mind with the jealousy. But on the nothing, we are the remedy. Chef in Zanga pit, we mastered the recipe. Watch the show, yeah, it's a masterpiece. I don't care who sees about my herb in the streets. The cushion peng is always on me. Few times the pussy them try swami, intelligent tone. I tell them calmly, I'm MIA, Moorish Imperial Army. Mind what you say, might rub me wrongly, matter in me eye. I bury I'm beef, me not even brush me teeth. Me want me damn beef, me not get that split with bun, me get drunk.
Marijuana and they won't book me for that. See me on the streets, here they come, here they at. Stroll around the corner, friends in the hood with a gat. They won't book me for that. Won't bag me for that. Undercovers come up to me, ask me for cracks. Not protect and to serve. That's provoking the act. They won't book me for that. They won't bag me for that. But the man in ties, they just look at me back. I burn the marijuana and they won't book me for that. Is it the rich that is mean or the ways that you stack? Or the pigmentation of his skin, he's black. Like they won't book me for that. Won't bag me for that.
Yeah. 1 2 1 2. Check, check. You already know what it is. Moorish MC. Yeah, yo. All praise due to Allah, no bow ties. On my track, rappers get the warp speed blow-bys. Stay in my lane around corners, one man, no eye, Cyclops Bay. Covenant not new like polites. Running a fraud, you paid 4,300, Lord, this in the legend. Typical coon and reverence, but people support getting played robbed for birthrights. It's not about fiat, your energy quenches their thirst, right? Vampires and warlocks speak with finesse in their speech. Subconscious mind trap from release, detecting a breach. They dissing they prophet, true Ali, they dissing they creed. Before you follow dirty Moors, listen to me. Every Moor is not your bro, most of them sold out. Ask Khalid, Malcolm, Shabazz, and the ones that know about getting stabbed in their back for talking about rights. Minus the civil, notwithstanding, like a cripple. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, the priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Middlemen come calling themselves prophets and godsends, claiming they're sovereign, following hillbilly nonsense, saying wars are wrong, taking things out of context. Stupidity of conscious blacks is an inferior complex, following leaders that won't go with you off the cliff, lying about slavery and even about slave ships, robbing the ignorant, saying papers filed federal under the jurisdiction of attorney generals, claiming straw men for credit in a debt system. Yes, bonds from the treasury are really from the IMF. I am just saying what I see from the conscious, begging for donations while acting obnoxious with no solutions. 1,500 for service products that cost 50 cents to print. These black devils are off their rockers. They don't feel awkward giving state ID to coppers. Highwaymen think killing the bay is gonna stop us. You better think think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Priesthood is dead.
We declare our rights on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Black History Month is fine. You're gonna relegate my history to a month? Oh, what do you do with yours? Which month is Black History Month? Well, come on. I'm Jewish. Okay, which month is Jewish History Month? There is. Oh, why not? Do you want one? No. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history. How are we going to get rid of racism? Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
So Stang, turn my phones up a bit. Ain't nothing changed, it's the same. You still skylarking, most got stepdaddies like Harden. They hard in, fixed in their ways, they too hardened. Some got convictions, even if they apply, they the victims, ain't getting no pardon. Almanac is in the pen, middle finger to the warden. Free your mind, even though your body barred in. This war that I'm starting, might not want no pardon.
That's what I do. That's what I
If you're scared, stay far then. I'm prepared, ain't handing my card in. What they wanna call black is soot. Burnish bronze on the foot, charred in. Hydrogen molecule with the carbon. If you dare take a walk to the garden, send a stage for the role that I'm starting. I'm more in Black Knight like Martin. Soar, take flight like a Martian. I'm Thor, gladiator, Spartan. Still polite, a gentleman, charming. Presence like the Red Sea when it's parting. Kundalini energy when I'm charging. Like power and the force of a car whip. You know the type when you gotta keep your arm in. Why fight when you know saying no? We never ever could compare. Let's make it clear. From day one to day done, I'm here. I never fear. You never ever could compare. Let's make it clear. Been running this from year to year. I still prepared. Top ranking, top charting. We have it by the sticks, crates, and the cartons. The highest grade of the strain that I'm sparking. Up late nights, Johnny Carson. Early mornings, remember starving, engraved in my mind. Carved in the running in the past. No harping, don't be afraid or alarmed by the barking. Keep it close by a very thin margin. Shadow box with a little bit of sparring. Cage fights when you fence, then you barbed in. No cavalry, desperado charging. Never ever could compare. Let's make it clear. From day one to day done, I'm here. I never fear. You never ever could compare. Let's make it clear. Been running this from year to year. I stay prepared. Keep it hot, I'm hands in the fire, don't burn. That's what I do. Don't run. MTR when it's up to the gun. Keep up your hot, I'm hands in the fire, don't burn. Don't run. MTR when it's up to the gun.